Welcome, everyone. I'm Dot Maver with the National Peace Academy USA, and we welcome you to the May Peace Prevail on Earth Convergence Room in Peace Week 2022, where it is day 97 of our 99-day journey from World Unity Week. And we're focused on peace through unity for a thriving world for all of life. And it is a great joy to introduce Mira Binzen, co-founder of Global Family Wellness, which includes Global Family Yoga and Anxious to Awesome. Mira is our guide on the journey from anxious to awesome today. She's worked with children with disabilities and mental health concerns like anxiety since she was in high school. Mira was an anxious kid and sometimes still an anxious adult, she says, but she's got tools and a lifestyle that helps her handle it with grace. I know that for a fact, right, Mira? And she's with us today to share her experience and her toolkit so that we can too. In addition to being a certified yoga therapist, Mira is also a certified iRest Yoga Nidra teacher, a certified essential oil specialist, and has a degree in child psychology from the University of Minnesota. She's been teaching wellness strategies to children and to families since 1999, and we're going to hear about some of the upcoming trainings and 21-day journey opportunity later as well. So here's a truth. Mira has a knack for taking the complex and seemingly mysterious practices from ancient wisdom and making them fun and accessible for everyone. She's been teaching her signature Anxious to Awesome classes to families for more than a decade. Welcome, Mira, and congratulations on the release of your book, Anxious to Awesome.
Thank you so much, Dot. It's great to be here with you today.
So I'm wondering where we start, and I'm thinking we start with your statement, you are meant to be well. Talk to us about you are meant to be well.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. So this is our true nature. Our body and our mind is always seeking balance, just like Mother Nature herself is always seeking balance. Whenever something is thrown out of balance, you'll see right away our body, our mind, and nature working hard to repair and get back to balance. And so every thought we think, every choice we make, every action we take is either contributing to our body's innate impulse to be well, to be in balance, or it's getting in the way of it or disrupting it. And so you're meant to be well just means that that's our natural state. And it's okay. And it's the truth for all of us to feel that way as our ground of being.
Beautiful. So you've been interested in the science of mind and consciousness since 9th grade. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I am thrilled with this book. Can we see it here, I think? Yes. Anxious to Awesome. And that's our focus today. I'm noticing some folks in the room with us too, which we'll go to gallery later so people can comment or question, talk with you. Great. And, you know, when you have talked about Anxious to Awesome directly from your book, I'd just like to put this in the field and ask you to speak to it. Anxiety is the #1 mental health challenge in the world today, for both kids and adults. When it seems like life stirs up anxious feelings at nearly every turn, it may feel like a distant dream to feel awesome. This practical guidebook is for families who want to feel less anxious and more awesome without a huge investment of time or money. Talk to us about that a bit.
Anxiety is one of many normal human emotions, but it's when the emotions kind of take over. So an anxious feeling is a part of our stress response, and our stress response is what keeps us safe. It allows us to fight off a threat or run away from a danger or freeze like the bunny rabbits do when my dog goes outside. And then when we think about worry thoughts, that alarm mode that's so adaptive and is something that keeps us safe and keeps us well gets stuck in the on position. And so anxious feelings continue to take over our lives. And when it really becomes a challenge for families is when they feel like they don't have any control over it, when it's something that's happening to you. And what we are teaching is that you can put your hand on that knob and you can turn the volume down on those worry thoughts. You can shift your nervous system out of that alarm mode and into rest mode. And you can do it every day. And you can do it with really simple and effective tools. So it's really about empowering families to understand that you do have agency. You can get in there and partner with your nervous system, largely through your breath, but also through movement and other simple tools that anyone can use to shift out of those anxious feelings and become the captain of your own ship. So it doesn't mean you're not going to be sailing any turbulent water. It means that when you get into that rough water, you're a confident captain.
I love that. The captain of my own ship. So that brings me to one in this book there you offer so many practical ways to basically calm down or presence, right? Come back to myself. Name it is one of my personal favorites. And so we're hoping that today you'll also share with us a few of these and maybe you can talk about that one right now. It's so powerful.
Yes, every human emotion is partnered with a physical sensation in your body. So our body is a messenger and it's giving us information about our state, how we're feeling, what our emotions are. And so when we learn to listen to our body, I oftentimes will teach children that yoga is the practice of learning the language of your own body. So your body's always talking to you and giving you messages. You feel your tummy grumbling when you're hungry. You might feel a ball of lead in your tummy when your teacher calls on you and you have to stand up in front of the classroom, or when something worrisome is happening in your world. And so when you learn to recognize that feeling and then can name it, is it tingly? Is it buzzy? Is it fluttery? Is it heavy? Is it warm or cool? Then you start to be in a relationship with your body and your emotions. And then instead of having those emotions take over, you're in a relationship with them. You're in a dialogue with them. So name it is a process of becoming aware of body sensations and describing it.
Beautiful. I have to say there are so many practical things in this book. I've been loving it. And you mentioned breathing, and it kind of, I watched a couple of your videos, and one of them made me chuckle. It's like, take a deep breath, calm down. I can't take a deep breath.
Right.
So talk to us about that and take us into breathing for a moment, please, as we come into our own field of coherence here on this Zoom with you. And thank you so much, Mira, for making the time. These are some of the most practical tools I have come across.
Yeah, the challenges we face, the things that get us feeling anxious are so complicated and so complex. When we think about how can we solve these really complex problems? When we find a very simple tool, we almost doubt it. We're like, how could something so simple be so effective to counter something so complicated? But that's really what it is. Really simple things we can use to just nudge our body back to its innate state of wanting to be well. And so taking a deep breath, I think most people know this, right? When you're stressed out, you can take a deep breath and feel more calm. Oftentimes accessing a deep breath is hard. One reason is physical tension. When we're stressed out, we hold physical tension, which can restrict our physical ability to breathe openly. And also we might have a lot of thoughts around breathing. And the stress response is a short, shallow breath. The relaxation response is a slower, deeper breath. So one way to help your body breathe better, if you can do this where you are right now, you can lay on the ground. So when you're belly down on the ground, you can stack one hand on top of the other and rest a cheek on your stacked hands, your whole body. So the weight of your body is helping you breathe out because there's some pressure against your chest and your belly. And then when you breathe in, your belly spreads out on the floor. Now, if you can't lay down on the ground, you can put your hand on your belly for a similar effect. So as you breathe out, your belly button drifts back. And as you breathe in, your belly fills into your hand. if that's not happening right away, and you continue to focus on your belly with your hand physically touching your belly helps that focus, then you'll begin to draw in a deeper breath. So breathing together is a great way to sync up with our nervous systems. We can talk more about that. That's a huge part of feeling less anxious and more awesome. So putting your hand on your belly.
Let's do it.
First, allowing yourself to breathe out as much as you can. And then your breath is ready to come back in. And as you breathe in with your focus on your belly, you'll find that there's a little more room. And doing that when you're not anxious teaches your body how to breathe better, so that when you are anxious, it's more familiar. If you're not used to breathing deeply and then you're feeling anxious and then someone tells you to take a deep breath, you're like, I'd love to take a deep breath, but I can't. So that's why practicing every day is so important. These tools work great on the go, but they work even better when they're part of a simple daily routine, just like brushing your teeth and tying your shoes and taking your dog for a walk. These are simple things that we all do every day. We can do similar tools that help to regulate our nervous system, help to get our nervous system back to balance.
Thank you. So for those who are joining the Zoom room now and who are just taking a look at this on social media, we're here with Mira Binzen, the author of Anxious to Awesome. And Mira is here sharing with us many of the tips. And they're not tricks, they're incredible exercises from her toolkit that helps us be less anxious and more awesome, able to make our unique contributions in life. So I spoke earlier today, Mira, and I quoted you. I was talking about meditation and mindfulness, and I said, my friend Mira Binzen, author of Anxious to Awesome, always says, take your mind to the gym. I love that. Take your mind to the gym.
Yes. Yes, for mental fitness.
Yeah. Do you want to say a word about that?
Yes, our minds are so powerful. It's amazing what we can achieve when we have some agency over the functioning of our mind. And so it's kind of like a wild stallion out there on the field until we can really get a hold of it and train it and use it. You know, think about everything that we've been able to do since we started partnering with horses out there. We're talking about major shifts of energy from personal energy, then to fire, then to animals, you know, these huge leaps. Well, you can do that with your mind. I also tell kids too that your mind is like a puppy, right? It's so cute, but it's chewing up your socks and peeing on the kitchen floor until you train it to sit and stay. And then it is like your loyal best friend. It's always there for you. And so we want to take our mind, which is strong and heading in any direction, and learn to focus it and learn to partner with it. Mm-hmm. So we want to be more aware of it. And we also want to direct our mind. And it's not as hard as it sounds. Mm-mm. I like to tell adults that kids can meditate more easily than adults can. Sorry, adults. But adults have a lifetime of habit patterns. And so we're changing direction, whereas children are developing and they're setting out on a direction. So it's easier to develop something. Think about building a new house versus remodeling a house, you know. And so teaching children to meditate is a powerful strategy for creating peace on earth, for giving them the tools that they need. And they like it. When I teach these classes to children, we play games, we tell stories, we do partner poses. I take them on a guided relaxation, oftentimes called a magic carpet ride, and then we sit and meditate. At the end of a class, I'll ask them, what was your favorite thing about our class today? And they'll say, oh, I liked the meditation. And I'm like, are you serious? Wow. And they're like, yeah, because they were guided into a place of calm, focus, quiet. And they like that feeling. They're like, that's nice. I like that. No one's ever introduced that to me before. And so teaching kids to meditate is so important. And it's as simple as ringing a bell and setting a timer for 1 minute or 2 minutes, start very small amounts, and challenge yourself to be still and quiet for 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. You can give them a point of focus, which is your breath as it moves in and out the tip of your nose. And that's it. The more simple you make it, the more accessible it will be. And then with everything, learning to read, learning to ride your bike, everything, practice consistently over time, and you'll develop the habit of it.
Yeah, I love that you included the learning how to ride your bike story with your sister
Yeah, we
Stephanie.
started the book with that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mira, we have been together in different Zoom rooms over these last couple years, and you have shared some mudras
Mhm.
that are just so powerful. And, we have talked about what can we do for more peace on earth.
Mhm.
And this seems like I hear you say all the time, take care of self.
Yeah.
And these mudras, maybe you would speak to that, and then we'll put you on spotlight. Can you take us through some of the mudras today?
Yes, I would love to share mudras because it's a favorite tool of the children that I work with. And it's a lesser known practice from the yoga tradition, but it's one of the most effective. When I'm describing it to children, I often tell them it's like yoga poses for your hands, and they're super handy because you always have them with you. You can whip them out of your pocket anytime and practice them. So there's different ways to put your hands into shapes for a different energetic effect, just like a yoga posture. There's a quick effect on the nervous system and the energy body. And so one of the favorite ones that I teach to kids is called turtle in a shell. So you put your thumbs inside the palms of your hands, and do it with me if you're in a place where you can, and wrap your fingers over your thumbs. And then you're going to rest your hands down like that on your lap, on your thighs, or however you're sitting. As you sit with your hands in this shape, in this mudra, notice how it feels in your body. What are the sensations or feelings that you're aware of in your body when you're holding your hands in this shape? And notice how your breath is moving. You can also notice the quality of thoughts in your mind. Does your mind feel busy or quiet? I was teaching this to a 9-year-old girl in a group in one of my anxious to awesome classes. And I taught it to her exactly like I just taught it to you. And she said, "Oh, this feels great. I feel so stable and strong. I know I'm going to use this the next time that boy at school is bugging me." So this was a girl who was prone to anxious feelings, and she was being teased in school for being anxious, which of course made it worse. So she recognized the feeling in her body of stability and feeling grounded, and where in her life she would benefit from having that feeling. And she took it and she ran with it. So that's an example of how the mudras work in kids' life. In fact, she came back next week and she said, "Oh yeah, I use it all the time. I taught my sister, she uses it all the time. I taught my best friend, and now she uses it all the time too." So let's do another one that's great for Peace Week and International Day of Peace. This is called the Whole World Mudra. So you take the fingertips of one hand and come to touch the fingertips of the other hand. Your palms are open wide, and you're going to be holding your hands like this, and you can hold it right about at the level of the navel, which you can't quite see my navel, but just holding your hands like this. And whenever we're holding the mudras, they're special and they're important. So we want to sit up tall with our shoulders relaxed. You're not like elbows on the table, leaning your hands on your lap. So sitting up tall, holding your hands in this shape, kind of in front of your belly button. And again, notice how it feels in your body. What sensations in your body are you aware of when you're holding your hands in this shape of the whole world? Notice how your breath is moving in your body and the quality of thoughts in your mind. Mm-hmm. And so it's fun to teach a couple different ones because then you can compare them. Well, when my hands were like this, I felt more this way. But when I did my hands like this, I felt a little bit that way. And you might not feel anything specifically. So whether you felt something or not, it's okay. Just like trying anything new, you might want to try it a few more times and try it in different situations in your life. Kids oftentimes have a pretty quick response to anything that's focused on the more subtle body because they're developing. Adults become very habituated to their physical bodies. And so that's one of the reasons why it's so fun to share this practice with kids, because they adapt to it really quickly. And would you like to do one more? Okay, this is another popular one. It's called the heart flower mudra. So we begin with our palms touching, and this is a gesture that everyone's very familiar with. And you can notice right away how it helps you to feel centered. And then you're going to keep the heels of your hands touching along with the pinkies and the thumbs, and spread your middle fingers out from center. So kind of like a yoga pose, you might not have that flexibility yet, but if you keep practicing, you will. And then you can even let the thumbs kind of rest on the heart center, and this open gesture of a flower blooming in your heart. Notice how that feels. You can have your eyes opened or closed, whatever comfortable for you. And you might even notice the color of your flower or a scent with your flower. Notice how it feels in your body, how it moves your breath and your mind. Now, between these three, you probably have a favorite. You're like, ooh, that's the one I like. So that's your mudra. I want to give the kids a menu of choices, and then they pick what works for them. That's part of developing agency. I know what works best for me, and I know where and how to use it. So try this, what works for you, what do you like, and then it's yours to take with you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. My favorite is this one.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world. I often sit like that, and in fact, one of the reasons it's my favorite, and Fumi is on the here today on the program, and she will share often a divine spark in, and in Japanese means mudra. So, and it contains this motion within that. Yeah, very beautiful. Thank you, Mira. And again, for those who are just joining us, I see some new faces in the Zoom room here. We're here with Mira Binzen, author of Anxious to Awesome, and she's sharing with us about this book and about her, actually, Global Family Wellness, right? She's a co-founder of Global Family Wellness. And perhaps this is good timing to take just a moment, Mira. Let's invite your sister, Stephanie Binzen, and your mom, Cheryl Binzen.
Yeah, now Stephanie Schmidt.
Oh, I always do that. Stephanie,
I know, she was Stephanie Binzen for a long time.
For a long time, but no
longer
more.
than she's been Stephanie Schmidt.
Yeah, great. So let's bring you up here as well. Welcome. Can you, unmute yourselves, and yeah, welcome to this today. And we're so delighted. So this powerful triangle has put together all of this work. And so maybe you want to say a word, Cheryl and Stephanie, and then Stephanie, please show us the book and talk to us a little bit. But Cheryl, did you want to make a comment?
Always. First of all, thank you to everyone who's here sharing this with us. You know, I'm supposedly in the retired phase of my life, and it's just my great joy to be doing this work with my two daughters who are awesome. And what's part of it that is the other part of it that I love so much is that we've always been, from the very beginning, focused on children and families, because we all know that how our children, how individuals get their start in life builds the foundation for how resilient they can be as they move through life. So and I love the fact that these the mudras and the breathing and a couple of asanas, yoga poses or whatever, they're so accessible and they don't have to take any huge amount of training. Now I'm giving the talk, but you can tell it's my passion. You can tell it's my passion because I've seen what a difference it makes for kids. And gosh, don't we all love all of our children? So I will turn it over to you, Stephanie, to share whatever you'd like to share. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Mom, for that perfectly unbiased view of our group. I did drop the link to the book in the chat, and our website, anxioustoawesome.com, has other resources available. Mira has a copy of it there, and Dot's been sharing it. And I just want to say, really, I think what makes our angle on things a little bit unique is that we really believe that, anxious feelings and anxiety and all of the negative emotions, if we want to say it that way, are such a normal thing. Like, everybody has these feelings. It's a normal human emotion. It's not a disorder, necessarily a disease. that everybody can really benefit from working on their mental fitness. As Mira mentioned, like taking your mind to the gym. It's the same as we would do for ourselves in our body when we go for a walk or go to the gym or whatever we do to keep our bodies fit. These practices for everybody in whatever state of mental fitness you are in can be beneficial. So we're just very excited to be getting them out there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, for the work that you do. And, you know, a little bit later, we're going to call you back up again. So be ready because we want to talk about the training and the 21-day journey. But before we now open it up, Mira, to the gallery, because I know there are some folks who would like to say hello. The chat has been quite active, as you're probably seeing, and with people very responsive to what you're offering. So, yeah, in fact, Monica just said, this is so helpful. Thank you. Yeah, agreed, Monica. So we'll come to gallery in a moment. But before we do that, Mira, you know, one of the things that you and I have talked about over the years, actually, is a sense of belonging. It's the number one risk factor for all of us on the planet. And so let's talk about belonging for a minute. You talk about this in the book, and talk to us about belonging.
Yeah, the book is organized in a way where there's 5 main areas of life where we want to feel more aware and more connected. And those 5 areas are your body, your breath, your mind, the natural world, nature, and other people. So we are social creatures. In order to survive, we must be in relationship. And the interesting thing that happens when we're anxious, our nervous system is in alarm mode. What is a neutral face is perceived as a potentially threatening face. So our anxious feelings can actually get in the way of our relationships, because at a very primitive level, our nervous system is always checking, are you going to invite me to dinner, or are you going to eat me for dinner, right? Are you a threat or are you an ally? Because that's how humans evolved in tribes, in groups where we're together helping each other, or there's a potential threat from another tribe. And so that's wired into our nervous systems. And so this is why one reason it's so important to regulate our nervous system so that we can promote those connections and those relationships rather than have our nervous system get in the way of our relationships and connection. And with kids, you know, kids can be very, very tribal. They can be mean to each other. They can ostracize each other and leave each other out. And I believe that that's coming from this stress response. They're anxious, and so they're pushing others away. And so when we help all children to feel more at peace and at ease with themselves, their natural instinct is to collaborate and connect and to be together. And so that's why this less anxious and more awesome is so important in that regards too, because socializing is the very thing that can cause us so much stress and anxiety. And it's the very thing that also can resolve those feelings of stress and anxiety. So what we can do as adults is to be regulated ourselves, because I'm an ecosystem and you're an ecosystem, and our ecosystems are meeting each other. And so my calm and regulated nervous system is a balm for any other nervous system out there. So when I come into a room and I'm calm, then everybody can feel calm. When I come into a room and I'm anxious and nervous, other people are going to start to feel anxious and nervous too. We talk about anxiety is contagious. And so for connection, we facilitate connection when we're more calm. And if one person isn't, the other person can be. So that's another reason why it's so important that we take daily action to adjust that dial, to get a little more responsive in the gas and the brakes, you know, like a little more like a Ferrari and a less like my 1970 Volkswagen van that I used to have. It took a couple of minutes to get it into gear.
Yeah. So you're talking in a way about co-regulating. That's, you know, it's beautiful. And to provide so many tools for that is pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
So what else would you like to say to us before we go to gallery for a few minutes, Mira? What else would you like to say about the work that you're doing? And
Yeah. What I would like to say that this is all significantly more accessible and more practical and more doable than I think a lot of people might believe. It seems mysterious and sort of foreign and exotic and complicated, but it's so basic, it's so practical. The ancients who studied this and codified it and organized it and shared it, they were having a very clear understanding of the human condition and what we can do to live our best lives and be our best selves. And then modern life comes along and it's extremely complicated. The technology that we work with on a daily basis is so millions of light years beyond the way our nervous system was developed to function that we're just living so out of sync. And then we're going back to this real original truth of the human experience, which is very simple and very accessible. And so I want people to feel like, yeah, I can do this. I can lay down on my belly and breathe for 2 minutes in the morning before I get out into the world.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mira, for making it so accessible to all of us. It's a beautiful body of work, and may this help raise the awareness of it. So as we go to gallery for a minute here, I'm going to put somebody on the spot, so everybody get ready, because probably everybody's used to that from me. So I'm going to put Moira on the spot, actually, and ask you to unmute. Moira Irving is the author of a wonderful children's book, Amelie Trott and the Earth Watchers. And how's this touching you, Moira?
Hear me? Can you hear me, Dot?
Barely. We can barely hear you.
I have lost my my usual microphone.
Okay, well, if you speak loud and project, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm really shouting into this little microphone. I am just blown away by this. Thank you, Dot, for inviting me. I haven't been to any Zooms for so long, and this is just what I needed. I'm so excited by this. I'm going to order the book in a moment.
Beautiful.
I just see this in every school.
Yeah.
For teachers and children alike. You know, we can change the world with techniques like this. And I've always loved mudras, and it's something that we do naturally, isn't it? I do love how Mira uses storytelling to introduce ideas like meditation, for instance, which is what I do. I start with the story and then bring in these sort of spiritual, very practical ways of living.
Yeah, beautiful.
Building peace in the world.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Maura, and thank you for being here from the UK. Yeah, I'm always so amazed that we're here from all over the world when we gather in these Zoom rooms.
Yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So glad you and Mira have connected. Very nice.
Lovely to meet you.
And Emily, you have been speaking in the chat. Would you like to say something?
Not exactly, but since you've called on me, it seems like I would be more graceful if I did, huh? No, this is extraordinary. I've done a lot of work with breath, integrative breath work as well. And I was just, what I said in the chat, I was just so struck when you did the turtle shell. Is that what it's, because that's something I've done for almost as long as I can remember. And the word I would use is I always found it soothing. It just was something that I did. And people didn't necessarily know that I was doing it. My hands would be under my desk or something. And so it was just so interesting that you brought that up. And the simplicity, you mentioned simplicity, and it really makes sense because I think the simplicity is connected to the innateness. I mean, you're right. Our environment and our modern life is complicated, but because this is innate, of course it's simple to, realign back with what we are. And so it's just really beautiful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so beautifully said. And it is, it's natural. It's, oh yeah, this feels familiar and natural. I love the way you said that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. So would anyone else care to make a comment or ask a question before we ask a couple more questions of Mira?
I'll go. Hi, Mira.
Hi, Fumi.
It's so
Fumi.
beautiful to see the family here.
Yeah.
I feel the family connection. And it's so beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So when you taught this mudra, Mira, and I really felt that it really, how your energy is all out. It's like you're an octopus with all these tentacles going out into so many directions, and tapping into so many fields and all. You're just all over the place. So when I did this and put it on my thighs, my legs, I really felt that I just went, inside. I was able to bring all of that in and just go deep inside of myself and to reach that inner calm, inner self. So that was really beautiful that I experienced from that one simple mudra gesture. So thank you.
Thank you for describing it that way. And, children are so sensitive when you think about our phones and the upgrading systems and upgrading software. Kids are coming in with an upgraded software system compared to what we have. So that analogy you talked about, the octopus and being out there, and kids really receive a lot energetically and subjectively and don't have the tools to manage it. And so things that are grounding, that help them feel, like you said, so beautifully, bringing themselves back to themselves, is really important for our kids. And when we see things like acting out behavior or an inability to attend and focus, is that really what's going on? Or is it that they're having a hard time managing their energy? And when we give them the tools to manage their energy, all of a sudden they're a cooperative child. All of a sudden they can pay attention and focus. And so there's a lot of, I think, misdiagnosing going on because we're not getting at the root cause, which is this energetic care that we need to provide for our kids. Thank you for sharing that.
Nice. So anyone else before we ask Mira to share again? And I want to take note that although not on screen, Viviel's so grateful you're here with us today, and you make me think of other things I want to say. So bless you for joining us. Okay. So let's bring, Mira, we're going to bring you back on Spotlight. Great. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, so thank you again, Mira, for being here with us. It is such a delight. And, once again, you and I have talked about so many things, and one of you have intimated this as you have spoken today, but talk a little more to us about how our own internal peace and the rhythm of that as we come into a daily practice and all of that, and practice ways to get back to a peaceful state when we're stressed or anxious or upset or whatever, how it has a ripple effect.
Yeah, it goes back to co-regulation. We're meeting each other nervous system to nervous system. So my regulated nervous system is a healing balm for the rest of the world. Thinking about how am I going to solve world peace? Like there's so many things going on in the world that are so beyond my scope. It can be overwhelming. It can be stressful. And so to know that the practices that I can do for myself on a daily basis are actually creating a ripple effect, because my calm and regulated nervous system is then going to go to the store and interact with the person at the counter, and they're going to go home and interact with their children, and that child is going to go to school and interact with the other kids, and it's contagious. The human experience is contagious, for better or worse. Peace is contagious, and anger is contagious too, right? So we see that in our world. We see this strong emotion that is catching fire because it's contagious. And so it's really about hygiene, like mental hygiene, energetic hygiene. Like most of us aren't going to go out without brushing our teeth and taking a shower. Maybe we don't shower every day, but after a few weeks, right? It's kind of a public health concern. So it's the same thing for our mind and our energy. We want to have that personal hygiene practice because it's not only good for us, but it's also good for everybody else in the world. It's kind of gross, but it's a fun analogy that, and that when we take care of ourselves, and we can do it in a simple way every day. It's not a big, complicated, you go to a yoga class and you feel amazing at the end of that hour that teacher guided you through, but you're like, how am I going to do that at home? And that's what the book is all about. Just simple little tools, 6 minutes. You can do it in 6 minutes a day, which is about how much time it might take to do your hair or get dressed or make your coffee in the morning, and 2 minutes for your body. So any way that you move your body is going to help strengthen and balance your nervous system. One way to think about it is that when you're prepared for an emergency, your body is ready to fight or flee or freeze, but you're ready to take action. And if you don't take that action, your body continues to rev in the stress response. So the powerful hormone messengers that are going to keep you safe in an emergency really cause trouble in our body over time. And so any kind of physical movement is going to help process that stress out. So a little bit of physical movement, even if it's jumping on a trampoline for a couple minutes or having a family dance party, we promote that for our families in A land. Just put on some of your favorite music and groove around the house. And then a couple minutes of breathing. Lay down on your belly if you can, face down, and feel your breath. Set a timer for 2 minutes and let your breath free. And 2 minutes of focusing your mind, taking your mind to the gym. Just get in the habit of it. It's not going to be easy at first. You're going to be like, oh, my mind's busy. That's okay. You're learning to watch your mind and the busyness of your mind. And so it's really simple. And then when we do that, we go out into the world, and that's the ripple effect.
Beautiful. I'm going to start calling making dinner to music, dancing around the kitchen, my A practice.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
It all counts.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. So Monica says maybe grace before meals starts with putting hands together in prayer or holding another hand. The hand action may be important.
Yes. Yes. Physical connection with another person is very soothing for the nervous system. It's a message of safety to the nervous system. So holding hands, hugging, putting your hand on someone's shoulder, all of these are signals to the most primitive part of our brain that instead of being in a threatening situation, we're safe.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, Mira, thank you again for being here today. And we want to give you a bit of time to talk about the 21-day journey for families to develop habits of peace within self and home. And let us know if, I think Stephanie, we're going to call Stephanie up, but maybe it's Stephanie and Cheryl and you talk about that. Is that, and any trainings you have coming up?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So what we've discovered is that most people have an idea of the kinds of things they'd like to be doing on a daily basis, but they don't quite get to it. They don't quite weave it into their daily habits. And so we've created this 21-day journey from anxious to awesome to give families practical tools that they can use on a daily basis to start a trend, to begin to shift the trajectory of their lives. We believe in baby steps and tiny transformations. Sometimes when you learn something new, like a new way of eating, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go home and clean out the cupboards and buy all new food and start over. Well, that's not sustainable. I think we've all tried something like that. It just doesn't work. So little tiny changes made slowly over time lead to really big outcomes. So a lot of families who have anxious feelings that are disrupting the quality of their life, or they just want to have a little more skillful relationship with their mind and their emotions, they're in a state of overwhelm. And so we wanted to make everything bite-sized and easy to do. So this is worldwide. It's online. It starts October 15th. And basically what it is every day we send out an email with a few links that take you to an AMR, which is what we call our awesome morning routine. So the following day on your morning schedule, whenever that is, you get a video that's 6 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes long, where you get to practice those three things: something for your body, something for your breath, and something for your mind. And then you also get a quest every day. And we invite you to have a captain's log or a journal. And this is where you're developing a different relationship with anxious feelings and with your mind. And so there's mindset shifts and little prompts. We talk about the no gang. You meet the no gang, which are things like resistance and judgment, things that keep us separate versus connecting us, and where that's coming from and what we can do about it. Everything is really targeted to children with families who have school age kids, but it's great for college kids or adults, anybody who wants this simplistic and playful approach. But underneath it, behind it, is the real technology of the mind, the real science of the mind, something that really lit me up when I was in 9th grade. I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. And so that science, that Eastern science of holistic principles for the mind are there, but it's really simple. It's really accessible. So we've got the morning routine and a quest. And then we also have a grown-ups guide. So whether you're a grandparent doing this with your grandchild or any caregiver, obviously including parents, just a little nugget, like a little 2-minute podcast each day, something for you to think about. Again, mindset shift, affirmation, like, yes, this is it. And then the second week of our 3-week journey, we add in sweet sleeps. There's a lot of research that shows that a poor night's sleep leads to increased anxious feelings the very next day. So sleep is really important and sometimes pretty elusive. Worry thoughts can keep us awake at night, and just the hecticness of life. And so for the second 2 weeks, we also include, in addition to those other pieces, a little bedtime routine for some sweet sleeps. And so they're, bite size. You can take it and mix it into your own routine. And then we have a weekly live workshop where we get together as a community and we celebrate what's working. We tweak what needs to be tweaked. And we call it the weekly peek and tweak, because that's what it takes. Like, how did last week go? How do we want next week to go? And sometimes we're just moving so fast through life that we don't take that time to reset. And so by the end of our 21-day journey, you've got some simple habits, and then you can rinse and repeat and access the material ongoing. So it's a really approachable, doable way to start to learn a new language, really learn the language of your body and your mind.
Love that. Love that. So Stephanie, how do we find out about that? And can you speak it or share screen or something, not just in the chat?
Okay, yes, it's I did drop it in the chat. It's anxious2awesome.com. From there, there's links, but it's /21-day-journey. Excuse me, a little froggy. And it does, as Mira said, start October 15th. There's an early registration discount for people who want to get involved before October 1st.
Right.
It is a daily program, and we occasionally hear from people just like, every day for 3 weeks, it's just going to be too much. So we really have organized it in such a way so that it is small and bite-sized. And if you can't get to it every day, it's okay. You can just drop in day 3 and, I missed 4, but 5. It's not something that it's like learning math where you have to get all the foundations. Every day has useful, practical tools that people can use. So there's no, I'm behind or I'm failing, or it's built for success every day.
Not very nice. So say into the field one more time, please, for those who don't have access to the chat. How do they find out more about that?
It's anxious2awesome.com.
Anxious2awesome.com. Okay, thank you. Cheryl, anything else you wanted to say?
Well, of course, I just wanted to share the last time we did this, we had a family. It was so fun to see them on the screen, the mom and the dad and the 3 kids. And the dad was somebody who had been a yoga practitioner and a meditator for many, many years, and he shared with us that 2 things. One, that he had been wanting to share what he knew with his kids, and his kids were not super responsive until they did the 21-day journey. So it's like, there was an outside expert that was saying the same thing that Dad said, and they took it in. But the other thing that went with that was not just the voice of someone other than mom or dad, but also the 21 days, that there was something every single day that they could do as a family. So again, families and kids. So they were building family connection through building resilience within each of them individually and as a family group. It was just so beautiful to see the sharing. So anyway,
lovely.
that's my bit.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And Cheryl, I'm keeping you on screen for a moment because I'm going to invite somebody up who both you and I have worked with a bit through the Ungun Institute.
Oh,
And yeah, and Vivial is here with us today. Vivial, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining
oh,
us today.
dear Vivial, it's wonderful to see you again. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone. It is wonderful
Wow.
here. Thank you for the invite. And I'm just excited that I had an opportunity to jump on. And already, like, I've learned so much. I love the mudra. So the one with the world is probably my most favorite as well, Dot. Yes. But I just want to say, first of all, I'm definitely going to share this with my sister. She has two daughters that are 8 and 12. And I think this would be wonderful for them or us to even do as a family. I may even do it as the aunt. And so I'm so excited about learning more and looking into the 21-day challenge. So thank you for that. And just for myself, I just want to say just that this is so important because I have been dealing with some anxiety in my life and really trying to realign my heart and my body and my spirit. After dealing with a lot of pain, I've dealt with now some anxiety. And so this is a space that is very relevant for me in my life. And so I'm just very grateful to have this opportunity and be in community and now have a new resource to be able to even support me in these efforts. And again, just the idea of us just going back to what is natural because we have been removed from that is just so inspiring. And the simplicity of it is just that if we allow ourselves to connect in the very simple but profound way that we were created to, just amazing things happen. So again, thank you all so much. And Cheryl, good to see you. Me so many different faces on here, but just a pleasure to share space. And this short amount of time has been meaningful to me. So I thank you all so much.
Oh,
Thank you,
bless
Vivial.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you, Vivial.
Yeah, bless you, Vivial, for being here with us and for sharing some of your story and what this can mean for all of us. Because probably one of the most important things we can do on this planet right now to come into right relationship is to heal the trauma that all of us are experiencing to one degree or another. So, yeah, bless you for being here with us. Love you.
You know, I just want to pick up on something that Vivial said about as an adult. We focus on children and families, and I've already talked about why I think it's so important that we do that. And as adults, we can access the child within us, which goes back to what you were talking about in terms of trauma, or even if it is a huge trauma, if it's something that just there's a hook inside of us that every time it gets poked, we don't even know for sure what it is, but we can learn what it is through the mudras, through our daily practice. So adults that are single adults living alone can also access this 21-day journey and really benefit from it. I know I sound like I'm on a soapbox, but that's because I believe it so much. I've seen that it makes a difference, and that's what we all want to do in our lives, right? Is share things that make a difference, that make our world a more peaceful, a more right relationship place to live. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. So, Mira, goodness, we're here with Mira Binzen, author of Anxious to Awesome, who has shared with us today her story a bit and so many exercises. And I see a couple of people have turned their video on, and I'm wondering, feel free to I'm going to go to gallery myself just a minute. If you wish to say something, just put your hand up for a sec. Anybody else in the room? And yeah, okay, just making sure. Yeah, and Mira, thank you for making the time to be with us. It makes a difference for all of us when you're willing to step out like this and really share your wisdom and your unique contribution with the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what else would you like to share with us? We have just a couple minutes left.
Well, since we do have just a couple of minutes, I want to direct people to lots of different free resources that we have available. So Stephanie mentioned anxioustoawesome.com, and you'll see upcoming events. And we often offer free workshops that are online. They're accessible from anywhere in the world. And we also have a YouTube channel, Global Family Wellness, where we regularly put out videos that can help educate you and help you understand better how these tools can work in your life. So practical, actionable tools. And people can also get a free resource called 5 Surprisingly Simple Ways to Help Your Children Feel Less Anxious and More Awesome. So there's lots of free tools available as well that can also be found on anxioustoawesome.com. So we do have a lot of resources available for people because we really want everyone to understand how peace begins with me through simple daily commitment to your own self-understanding.
Beautiful. Well said. And I have to say, on your website, there are some awesome videos of you explaining some of these things and taking us through some of the exercises. So thank you for all you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for all you're doing as well. It's an incredible community. And every time I get the opportunity to interact with people who are committed to peace in this way, and these different organizations that are coming together and collaborating that might not be getting as much of the, the public media message on a larger scale that a lot of people are exposed to, it's just so heartening and so encouraging. So I love this sharing individually and handing off, and everybody's got this message that's going through in a very organic way. So I appreciate everything that you are doing to facilitate that.
Thank you, Mira. And I see Linda clapping. Linda DeHart is here with us. Linda, say hello, please.
Hi. I'm sorry that I came in a little late. I had technical problems getting in. Sorry. But I have caught up, I think. Anyway, so
and the flags, tell us, just 1 second, tell us about the flags.
Okay. So these are baby wings. These are wings of the heart, but basically I call them, when I introduce them to people in the world, they're called flags of one family on earth. And our website is flagsofOneFamily.org. And basically, they're a symbol of all the differences coming together to create a harmony. And it's a collective symbol. And what I'm learning by looking into this form of symbol, it's an interactive symbol. I'm learning that these are really a part of the transition that we are making in our consciousness. It's a collective. It's not an individual flag. They all belong together.
Bless you. Flags of one family. Thank you, Linda. And thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Oh, Mira. So the final minute or two is yours. What else would you like to say? Closing remarks.
Well, let's start the minute by feeling into the breath, taking a moment to be with yourself exactly as you are. Everything is welcome. All the different parts of yourself, the confusion and the doubt and the rushing because you're late or the worried about what's next, it all belongs. And when we take a moment to take a breath and to be quiet within ourselves, then the static begins to settle and the truth of who we are starts to light up. It starts to shine and we experience that. So any moment, anywhere, anytime, to pause, to put your hand on your belly, to recognize yourself. We get pulled out in all the different directions all the time. And so to come back at any moment and take a nice deep breath and practice taking a deep breath every morning. So when you're out there and it's time to take that pause, that deep breath is more available to you. And it's simpler than it sounds. And I just want to empower everyone to be the captain of their own ship, to be an active participant in their own rescue, and to have that beautiful regulated nervous system that you can then go out and co-regulate with others, creating peace on earth in our lifetime.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mira. Thank you. And thank you for helping all of us move from anxious to awesome. So much love.
Yeah, thank you so much.